Welcome to the Politics News Wolf US channel. Russian troops have increased the number of personnel and the volume of military equipment and ammunition delivered to the areas of hostilities by rail. The relevant statement was made by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. The enemy is making attempts to conduct offensive operations in the Lyman, Bakhmut, and Avdiivka directions, and is holding the defense in the Novopavlivka, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson directions. Over the past day, Russian troops have launched one missile strike, 4 airstrikes, and opened fire with multiple launch rocket systems, MLRS, 16 times. The threat of air and missile strikes on Ukraine's critical infrastructure objects is persisting. In the Volyn, Polizhzhia, Siverskaya, and Slobozhenskaya directions, the situation remained rather unchanged. There are no signs of enemy offensive groupings being formed. Russian occupiers are planning to deploy a field hospital within the territory of Belarus. In the Slobozhenskaya direction, Russian troops used tanks, mortars, and artillery to open fire near 15 settlements, including the Kharkiv region's Hoptivka, Kudiivka, Krasn, Zelin, Haidishch, Vovkansk, Varveyevka, Zybin, Dvorikna, and Zemlyansk. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian invaders are attempting to improve their tactical position. The enemy shelled 14 settlements, namely the Kharkiv region's Vishneve, Ivanovka, Zapadny, Kupiansk, and Sinkivka, and the Luhansk region's Kyslivka, Yahidny, Kotlyarivka, Kuzymivka, and Kolomyikivka. In the Lyman direction, Russian occupiers again inflicted fire damage near the Luhansk region's Makyivka, Ploshchanka, Chervonopopivka, and Dubrova. In the Bakhmut direction, Russian troops opened fire near 22 settlements, including the Donetsk region's Bilahorivka, Yakovlivka, Bakhmut, Klitschivka, Bilaora, Kurdyamivka, Druzhba, Zalizn, and Vasil. Additionally, the enemy launched airstrikes near Spern and Bilahorivka. In the Avdiivka direction, Russian troops shelled the Donetsk region's Vodyan, Pervomaysk, Nevelsk, and Marinka. In the Novopavlivka direction, Russian invaders used tanks and artillery to open fire on the Donetsk region's Paraskaya-Ivka, Voledar, Zolotaneva, and Velika Novozilka. In the Zaporizhzhia and Kherson directions, Russian occupiers continue to cause terror against civilians living along the right bank of the Dnieper. The enemy used cannon and rocket artillery to attack over 40 settlements, including the Zaporizhzhia region's Zaliznyky, Shufn, Orikhiv, Modolinovka, and Kamiansk, and the Kherson region's Kherson, Respublikanets, Dniprovsk, Yantarn, Bilozerka, and Stanislav. Russian troops also launched an airstrike near Kamiansk. According to the General Staff, in order to tighten administrative and police measures within the Zaporizhzhia region's temporarily occupied areas, about 500 Roshgvardia servicemen came to Berdyansk. Over the past day, Ukrainian air forces have launched 7 strikes on enemy personnel, ammunition, and military equipment clusters. Ukraine's missile and artillery units hit 2 Russian command posts, 2 ammunition depots and 11 personnel clusters. The enemy's final losses are yet to be checked. In the Luhansk direction, the Russian army is constantly under pressure from Ukraine's defense forces. This was reported by the spokesman for the Eastern Group of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Surai Shervati, who spoke at the National Telethon, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. According to Shervati, the Luhansk direction is the third most affected area in terms of severity and intensity of fighting, after Bakhmut and Avdiivka. The so-called Kadyrovites, who usually perform gendarmerie functions, do not rush into the front-line units, so Russia is transferring to Luhansk region new units, replenished with freshly mobilized soldiers, trying to build up defense lines. However, we stop all their attempts at counterattack with a harsh rebuff. As a rule, it's about powerful artillery strikes of MLR systems, and, if necessary, counterattacks. Our missile troops and artillery engage them every day, trying to constantly destroy their field ammo depots. 2 of them were hit that day. We destroy command posts and enemy clusters. That's why the enemy is constantly under our pressure, the spokesman for the Eastern Group of the Armed Forces emphasized. According to the spokesperson, Bakhmut remains the hottest part of the front. Throughout the past day alone, 266 enemy strikes with all types of artillery, MLR systems, and tanks were recorded in the Bakhmut direction, and more than 15 combat clashes took place. The invaders lost more than 100 Menkia and about 200 Wia. Most often, they just mindlessly throw people into battle grinders, losing manpower and combat equipment, while gaining several tens of meters. We have mobile defense there, in Donetsk region, the so-called smart defense, in order to inflict maximum damage, while minimizing own losses and preventing a systemic breakthrough of the enemy, Shervati said. According to the official, the front is flexible in the Bakhmut direction. This means that when the dynamics of the fighting are like this, sometimes it is wiser for some units to withdraw, regroup, so that later there will be an opportunity to run combat operations, not like the Russians do, noted the spokesman for the Eastern Group of the Armed Forces. As reported by Ukrinform, Ukraine's defense forces have already eliminated 100,950 Russian invaders since the full-scale invasion. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel to update you with daily information.